Hey everyone, in this video tutorial I want to show you how to use layers in Illustrator. Layers are located on the right hand side of your screen in this bar here. It's this little stacked isometric square icon here. If you don't see it, just click on that, it should open up. If you happen to not see that icon, you can always go back to the window menu and check layers and it will pop up for you. So here we have 3 layers in my Illustrator document that I'm using. If you've seen my past tutorials on how to set up the file and how to place images, etc., you'll notice that I have these 3 layers here. One is my tracing layer that I currently have turned off on this artboard, and the second one is the drawing layer, which happens to be my logo that I'll be using in this next set of tutorials. And then of course on my second artboard is this top tracing layer called Tracing 2. And I have that set up as a template layer, so it's locked down. It is a template. I can toggle it on and off. But I want to talk to you about the differences between Photoshop's layers and Illustrator's layers. Because looking at it for the first time, it seems very similar, but there are quite a bit of differences with it. The first major difference is you'll notice that each of these layers has a little collapsible arrow that you can click on and look at whatever artwork is embedded within that particular layer. If you want to select all the artwork on a layer quickly, you can click any of these little donut circles here on the right and it will select that particular layer. So I'm going to scoot over here to look at our logo that we're going to be doing and open up that drawing layer. And you'll notice when I first open it up it says group, and that's because if I take my direct select tool and I click on the artwork, everything here is grouped up, so it's now in its own group sublayer. And so if I want to select the fire, for example, I can't select the fire without selecting everything else because it's grouped within that particular layer. So you'll notice the group layer, all group layers will have another collapsible arrowhead that you can click on and see all the drawings within that. And now if I want to click the fire layer without ungrouping it, I can click on the little circle icon for that particular layer and I get a little thumbnail preview that says that. Now you can go in and name each of these path layers specifically what it is. So for example, I can call this one fire, so it's a little bit easier to identify because sometimes it's hard to see that very small thumbnail to be able to tell what it is. And sometimes it might not show up at all because it's white on white. So this circle and this little highlight here won't show up. And so it's kind of hard to tell without actually clicking on it to go, okay, that's that particular highlight on the top of the grill there. Layers work in a top-down hierarchy like they do in Photoshop. So, for example, if I wanted to move this grill lid on top of these 2 white graphics, I could drag and drop it within the layer group to do that. So here's my top of my grill lid, and I'll just name it that so you can see. And if I were to drag that all the way to the top of this group and drop it right above the fire, it's going to cover up the rest of those graphics because it's on top of that these 2 particular shapes, that circle and that highlight that's there. So that's no good. So I'm going to drag that back down just because it'll be hard to kind of interpret it that way without being able to see it. So you need to be aware that the layers work like they do in Photoshop in a sort of a hierarchy from top down. If you want to close up a group, you can simply collapse the group to do that, but you can drag and drop between those and get inside the group and click on specific shapes that you've created by clicking these donuts on the side here. The last thing I want to show you within the layers is also you can go in and if you want to, let's say I wanted to get rid of this flame here, I could click on that particular layer, it'll become highlighted, and then I can drag and drop it to my little trash can icon to delete that particular layer and it's gone. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and Control Z and bring that back and undo that and leave my fire there. If I want to create a new layer, I can click the top layer in the stack if I want to and hit the Create New Layer button here at the bottom. And it's going to create a new blank layer that I could start inserting artwork on. And of course, I can go in and name that if I want to. And if I click to the right of the layer name, I can go into that particular layer's options. So that's it for Illustrator's layers. I will see you on the next tutorial.